Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is Wednesday, and guess what that means? This is 1 week since this show actually started. So if you guys are one of the first subscribers, you guys are already OGs. Thank you so much for joining us here at Investing Bros. We're going to be going live every single day from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're just so honored you guys are here with us. We're fixing the title real quick. We just realized that we had the same title up from yesterday, but that should be adjusted here very, very soon. Is my camera, is it a little cutting me off? I don't know what's happening there. It looks like the screen. There we go. Maybe a little better. I don't know. We got some technical difficulties, but we're going to keep chugging along. We got some great stories for you guys today. We're going to do some TA over on my Twitter. I have you guys now daily telling me what you guys want to see on the show for TA. Definitely going to be doing some quant and Gala, as well as some Bitcoin. We might even take some look at Ethereum and Cardano because some things were happening on those charts as well, as the title suggests, which when we get adjusted, you guys will see it. Bitcoin had a dip. It's actually sitting at a key support level. The problem is, though, is there a chance that it could go just a little bit or maybe a significant amount deeper? We're going to be talking about that in the TA section and more. Also, we have XRP news coming out, and T Shroom's going to tell us a little more about that. Speaking of T Shroom, how are you doing this morning, my friend?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, got a little caffeine in my system again, and just looking to trade some natural gas today, hoping to see a bounce in that. So, feeling pretty good. Also, mind on crypto as always. If we can get our way, hopefully XRP will kind of eke out a win here with the SEC. It looks like that decision is going to be coming a little bit sooner rather than later. So looking forward to that.
Boom. I'm still seeing the UK drops. Is the title, are you still working on fixing that one? All right, sweet. We're going to get that adjusted here in just a second. By the way, we got over 20 people in chat. Thank you so much. Go ahead and smash that like button. If you are new, if this is your first time, welcome to the show. We're so glad you're here. Go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We are a smaller, newer channel, so that helps us make sure that every single time we go live or put out any piece of content, you guys will be notified. The other thing, again, I want to encourage everybody, if you guys are saying, man, how do we help this space grow? How do we help the Investing Bros get bigger? One of the biggest things that a lot of people do not do that would be awesome for you guys to start doing is waiting till after the show's over. I love when you guys are in chat, but also comment some things in the comment section down below after we are finished going live. This not only helps us in the algorithm, but also helps me and T Shroom. We read all of those. We respond to all of them. It helps us know better how we can create even better show for you guys, as not only we are on this investing journey, you guys are along with us. So make sure after the show is over, or maybe later this afternoon, you can come back and go ahead and comment some stuff down below. That would help us out a lot. With that said, though, let's go ahead and check in with chat. Let's see who is here this morning. Again, 25 people here. Loving it. We got as many likes as viewers, so that means literally we're batting 100%. That is a very, very perfect
That's correct.
Percentage. I love that. Let's see here. We got Andy D's here in this morning. He said, brewing my tea, getting ready for another great stream. Love it. Love it. What are your thoughts about that? Are you back on coffee now, T Shroom? Or are you what's your thoughts on caffeine and tea and coffee? And I don't even know what tea is making. I don't know if it's caffeine in it.
It definitely has caffeine. Yeah, no, I'm back on caffeine, and I was off for a while after I got back from Army basic training because they don't let you have anything in there. So I was able to completely wean myself off. Yeah, and I made the decision to stay off of it for a while. But I'd say about probably 3 months ago, it was around the time that I was getting a lot more airtime on coffee and crypto. Everybody was like, you do a lot better when you have caffeine. So
and we found the perfect amount. I think it was when you were doing Celsius, and it was half a can. A whole can screwed you up for the whole day. Half a can, perfect amount for old T Shroom.
Exactly. So I'm seeing a lot of the favorite names that I'm used to seeing in here. Cashy Cats,
CBD Suddy,
Crypto Mini Bike, Grand Roofing Incorporated,
Tyler Main.
So Crypto JMP.
Yeah. I saw a question from J520, and we're going to answer this one, and then we'll jump in and start some technical analysis for you guys this morning. But this is a question I don't know the answer to because I don't really do that much staking. I dabbled in staking a little last year, didn't really like it, so I got out of it. But J520 said, got a question for you guys. I would like to take my coins into a cold wallet, but I love getting staking rewards. Is it possible to still stake while in a cold wallet? Now, here's what I know is that the one I have, Ledger, I don't believe. I remember when I was doing all that setup, that was one thing I was looking at is, did it have a staking option? I never saw one. I could be completely wrong. There could be a cold wallet out there that does allow you to do it. I just don't know the answer to that. T-Stream, do you know the answer?
No, I would Google it. But the thing is if you think about it, like the reason why staking has rewards is because you're lending them liquidity rights to it. So it's not like an exchange like FTX where they're like taking your money and relending it out and doing it so very poorly. So if it's on a ledger, if it's on a cold wallet, it's not being lent out. It's just inert, and you have complete control of the keys at that point. So I doubt, but there may have been some innovations since I last checked, but I highly doubt, just because out of principle, programming principle, I guess at that point, there's just not really a way for you to stake in a cold wallet. Now, again, I could be wrong about that. There could have been some innovations, but
interesting.
Just thinking about it, theoretically, it's not really possible. So, yeah.
Yeah. If someone has the exact answer, like I know every now and then, CryptoSec guy, he knows answers to those types of things. He's really big into staking as well. So when he comes into chat, I'm sure he'll have some answers. If you guys do know, we'll see. Okay, 2Defiant says you can stake with Ledger on certain coins. Okay, that I didn't see an option for it, but that maybe it was just me. Good to know though.
And my 2 cents on that would just be, I do stake. I stake Cake. That is on an exchange.
Yeah.
I mean, it's through Binance. It's through PancakeSwap. So I'm still taking a risk there. I don't have a ton of money on that, but I still feel confident in the Binance ecosystem. But that could change. I'm also locked into it, so I don't really have a choice. If I were to take it out, I would lose all my earnings from that. So
cool.
But I also stake on Binance.us too. So I have a decent amount off of cold wallet.
This is also really. I love just watching the chat this morning. This is, again, we talk about this community. You guys are a part of this, helping each other along the way. By no means do T-Shroom and I consider ourselves complete experts in the space. We have our areas where I feel like we're a little more knowledgeable, but this is definitely one where I'm severely lacking, and T-Shroom's dabbling a little bit, but I'm really glad to see people in chat do have answers on that. There's CryptoSec guy this morning with the blue name, one of the mods. Let's go ahead and move in, and if you guys are just joining us, thank you so much for being here. Smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Let's go ahead and go to the charts, and let's look at what's happening this morning. We're going to start off with Bitcoin because it's Bitcoin. We got to start there. Nothing crazy special happening on the macro level. We're still sitting somewhere between, we've been as low as 77% down from this all-time high where we came down to. We're currently sitting around 75% down. Just keep your eyes on that. There's a reason why a lot of these altcoins are going down lower to 90. A lot of people are predicting Bitcoin's going to end up making its way closer to 85, some even down to 90. That's why you're seeing predictions as low as like the 9,000 and even down to 3,000, because that's where those levels start to hit. But let's zoom in. Let's go take a look at some closer and some smaller micro time frame things. Important stuff happened yesterday. So I on the show yesterday, I talked about this flat level of support that had been growing. We actually ended up breaking below it. I'm going to keep the line there because currently the candle is hovering right beneath it. Is this now going to be turned from support into resistance? It's a good question to be asked, but we did dip down here to 16,700. Why is that? What is key about that level? So I actually was playing around with some stuff even on Lux Algo yesterday. Found one of the, I was updating some stuff and learning more about Lux Algo because they're always updating and improving things over there. And there's a really cool tool that came out showing some key levels of liquidity zones based off of volume. But even when I'm going to pull that up here in just a second. But even just looking right here, you guys can see that this level right here actually has been used as support right here, resistance several times. And I don't know if I scrolled back too much further how much we're going to find in there, but obviously a lot of trading did happen in this area right around where this bounce was. So the tool that I was going to pull up here for you guys, if you guys have Lux Algo, make sure you're refreshing, you cancel everything out, make sure you're updating your website, and then it's called the Lux Algo Price Action Concept. A couple different things they do here with the tool, but one of the coolest ones they have, I actually got to go to the hourly chart to show you guys this one. One of the cool things they have is a tool that measures volume and then gives you an idea of where there's going to be some heavy liquidity happening, where there's going to be some good levels of buying and selling. And I told T-Shroom this morning, I got to do a little more research, find out more. I remember watching the video. It talks about these percentages and what's happening there, but I can't give you a great answer this morning other than watch these levels because these are key levels that we've been seeing a lot of buying and selling happening. And sure enough, this dip down here here came right into this level, finding support. So my question is, will this be the zone that ends up stopping us and ends up getting us to end up rallying back up? There still is a prediction with the inverse head and shoulders pattern we had over the last week or so that we could be coming back up to former support turn resistance around 17,600, maybe even as high as 18,000. But as it stands right now, there's a bigger concern that we actually have been losing some support levels. Like I said, this ascending blue level that has been here with us since back here at that big crash back on November 9th, with the wicks several times being used as support and resistance. It just got turned into resistance once again. So if we can rally back above it, that's good. Bulls still have control. But the fact that we lost that level, we also lost this flat level, the fact that we're also sitting at a liquidity zone, there's a lot of decision making being made right there, it gives me some concern that potentially we actually could be seeing Bitcoin crash a little bit further to the downside, maybe even dropping down towards this yellow line, which was the neckline of our inverse head and shoulders pattern, maybe down as low as 16,300, maybe even a little lower. We'll keep your eyes on that one. We'll keep you posted day in and day out. It would make sense to have a nice little cleaning period. First of all, neither bulls nor bears in this little micro area have full control right now. It would kind of make sense, same as like a wave. Whenever you're at the beach and you see before a big wave comes in, the water gets drawn out. If we're going to see some positive action happen next week after the Fed event, maybe instead of rallying straight on up, we're actually going to kind of let that wave suck the water back in before a bigger wave crashes. So potentially could Bitcoin end up dipping back down to these levels, but then after the Fed news actually be able to rally and go up and set newer, short-term highs in this area. What's really interesting, keep your eyes on. Let me go ahead and turn this indicator off just because it's a little bit distracting to the eyeball. I still, though, am bullish, and I think that everyone should stay bullish right now when it comes to another support line that is developing now that we have 3 touches of it with a bounce, is this one right here coming out. Instead of just looking at candle body closes, let's look at these wicks right here, and you're going to notice that that's actually exactly where we bounced this morning. This also is something that's giving us higher lows, and we're still setting higher highs to this point. Not going to count that little point right there. This high, this high, this high. We're setting higher highs. We're setting higher lows. So the question is, all right, is the trend going to continue to the upside? Are we breaking that right now? When you're pulling up the RSI, that's where you are going to see on the 4-hourly chart, there's a reason to be concerned about RSI, and that is because you don't just draw trend lines on the price angle itself. A lot of times using the oscillators and some trends that they're making with their peaks or their bottoms, you're going to find a lot of information there as well, and there was a trend developed on the RSI that with this last dip just broke. So I'm really interested to see what happens here. We have this trend line with the price action bottoms holding strong, finding another level of support, but at the same time, a trend that we were developing on the RSI during this little bullish movement, it just broke below. Is that going to be a change in the trend? And now it's time to cool off. So it is sitting in a space where, yes, technically speaking, and everyone hates when technical analysts say this, but it could go up, could go down. Keep your eyes on what is happening with this level. I would say, based off of seeing this is kind of a vote in the camp for the bears for Bitcoin to drop. The fact that we lost this blue level support, again, that's another one. The fact that we're sitting right around this, I have that light blue line. If we can break through that, then maybe this will be quenched. But at the moment, that resistance level right there, I would give a little bit more say and leeway to the bears. And again, I almost consider this potentially a washout before next week's Fed announcement, so the bulls can actually mount up another rally. Keep your eyes on what's happening there with Bitcoin. Let's check really quickly. I told you guys we're going to be doing some quant, and we're going to be doing some, what was the other one I said? Gala.
Yeah.
A lot of people asking for Gala and Quant. A lot of great, you guys are asking for a lot of coins. Unfortunately, we can't do every single coin that gets asked, but I do want to cover those two. Really quickly, though, Cardano, I want to start here. Cardano is playing out that wedge pattern, that rising wedge pattern. It came down, got really close to this support level we had with these 2 wicks. Not quite kissing it perfectly. Potentially, though, we could still dip a little bit more. But just in case you're wondering, there's 2 ways to kind of read these, and you're going to have an aggressive way and a short way. This is the last thing I'm going to say about Cardano. The more traditional way is you actually go to the breakout point. This would give us a Cardano price prediction of around 30 cents, 0.17. So 30.17 cents. There's some people, though, the way they trade this, that would say, let's just stay more conservative. Let's go up to the support line. That would give us a price prediction of 31 cents. total, 0-0, and we've technically gone past that. So keep your eyes on Cardano and this red line right here. That's a key level of volume. So will we reject at that point? Can we break back through it? This is kind of in a no trading zone right now. Technically speaking, if you entered a short, you probably were able to make some decent profit on that. I would exit, but if we can't get back up above that red line, expect Cardano potentially to go ahead and dip again before rally comes back in. Cardano is one of these projects, though, I will say, using that tool, and I'll kind of pull it up really quickly. It's one of these projects that it is below almost every single volume point on almost every chart, which is one of the signs that says, yes, there's a lot of stuff happening down these lower levels. Obviously, we're down here for a reason, but there's a lot more liquidity. There's a lot more buying and selling volume happening above us, which is a sign of still being dramatically oversold to the downside, which, if you're a holder currently, you don't like that. But if you are looking to purchase some more of it, these are all great levels. Whether you buy it here at 31 cents, whether it gets down to 30, we talked about yesterday, there's a chance that it drops all the way to 25 if a lot of bearish pressure comes into space. That'll come with new bottoms on Bitcoin, maybe not new bottoms on Ethereum. Ethereum's a little higher, but, retesting, going down to 1,000 on Ethereum, if not below. That's when we could potentially see a 25-cent Cardano. We'll keep you posted on that. Really quick, we're just going to look at the chart on Ethereum, not do anything really deep on it, but just want to show you guys what's happening here. Still holding up. We talked about this zone, the support zone that's been support and resistance several times. We are working towards the bottom side of it, but you guys can see we kind of bounced right at it. Really interested to see what happens there. We lost that support level. We didn't quite make it over to the green, but there's still some hope. Again, is this a little dip in almost the entire crypto space, like that wave we're talking about that leads us to some bullish action next week with the Fed announcement? That's all I'm going to talk about with Ethereum. Let's go to your coins of choice. I'm going to start off with Quant. So CNT USD. I'm going to go to the Binance chart. A lot of times, especially if I don't do TA on the coins a lot, I trust the Binance chart a little more than like Coinbase and others. More often than not, it has more information. A lot of these are newer projects, meaning last couple of years, so there's not going to have the same history that necessarily Bitcoin has. But let's look at what's happening here. I dabble on it a little bit. I did not do a massive amount of TA. I wanted to do a lot of it in front of you guys, kind of see you guys, show you guys what I'm doing. The first thing I'm going to see here though is we are respecting a support level, and what's cool about this is this support level going back, we're setting higher lows. Technically, we got to see if we get a higher high. This is a high to beat out. If we do it, that's still bullish. We're still trending bullish. But for right now, let's just, be happy with what we have. Currently, the underline that I'm looking at right here on the RSI, just starting out here on the daily chart, is that we have a rising bottom level of support on the price action. In that same timeline, though, the RSI bottoms are dipping. What do we call that? That is bullish RSI divergence, but more so than just being, not just being anything regular. This is a continuation pattern, meaning, hey, it's time for this trend to continue to the upside. So as it stands right now, the trend on Quant absolutely is bullish. The question is, though, this is going to be a lot. This is going to be a high peak to handle and to deal with when you're looking at setting a higher high. But we will see if Quant is able to do so. Let's look at a couple other things. I want to look at the Bollinger Bands here because sometimes that gives us a little bit of a story. Not really, actually. We have constricted Bollinger Bands for the most part. They don't really get that broad. They don't really get that spread out. We're currently retesting the 20-day SMA. That's that middle orange line you see on Bollinger Bands. One of the cool things about it when you're looking at moving averages, a lot of times you will see those 20s be significant levels in the short term to see, hey, are we finding support right here? At the moment, looking at that 20, unless there's a lot of bearish narrative that comes in the space, and Quant's one of the projects that it could just continue to flow with crypto, but based off of looking at its chart versus other charts, it has not always just followed whatever Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano are doing. That's a good level right there. We could find some support. Let's look at a shorter time frame, maybe go down to the hourly chart and see what is happening down there. Seeing if there's anything bullish coming in. Yeah, absolutely, there's stuff bullish coming in. We're starting to kind of bottom out here. We're creating bullish RSI divergence. Is this strong? Not necessarily. Those RSI bottoms are kind of flattening out, but you guys can see the price keeps dropping all the while, so the RSI bottoms are kind of flattening out there. We're also overextended to the downside on Lux Algo, telling us, hey, we're kind of oversold. It might be time to buy. Let me look at one more, and let's look at the Lux Algo Premium contrarian signals. We did just here a couple of hours ago have another buy signal come in, which doesn't mean you can't go down a little further. Contrarian signals love to be a little more aggressive, but to me, seeing that many buy signals, I do think we might see a short little rally come in, especially when you're looking at, this is the hourly chart. The daily chart shows us even a longer time frame. There should be a continuation of bullish momentum happening in the space. So for those reasons, yeah, the last signal on that one is buy as well. Those reasons, I am sitting here saying I think that we're gonna go bullish. Let me check one thing. I did have to reset things, so I took off my. I'll have to play with this afterwards because I can't remember exactly where I put this. You can put on this. Oh, there we go. Take profit. There we go. On. Boom. I want to see what it says for take profit. Yeah, so it has a take profit on this buy signal. It has us going all the way up towards 154 on quant. We're currently sitting at 120. If you were to get in right now, again, I'm not telling you to necessarily enter this trade. This is just one thing you can do. We're looking at a lot of signals showing some bullish signs on quant, and the Lux Algo indicator would suggest there's a potential on the daily chart, which means this could take weeks. You got to be patient, but there's a potential 31, maybe even all the way up to, what does this one give us? 65% increase on quant coming. So whoever asked for that one, the groups of people that asked for quant, good choice right there. Interesting coin. I'll have to look at that more in upcoming weeks. Keep an eye on it because it definitely has some things that look interesting. Let's go over and do some Gala. By the way, I think that was the good coin. I was doing some quick looking at Gala, and it is not going to be as favorable as quant. And you know, it could be a good buy opportunity, but it is down very much. So let's go out to the 3 daily chart, and let's just start off with a macro look at Gala, which is Gala Gaming. I'm not really a gaming guy, so that's why I haven't paid too much attention to Gala.
Not a big gamer.
Not a gamer. I'm going to go to the log chart just to make this more visually helpful. And we are currently down. I talked to you guys about quant. Yeah, quant was down a good amount. Oop, grabbed the wrong one. But Gala, it's one of those things like, if it doesn't start recovering soon, you know, it might die completely. It went down 97%, currently sitting down about 96.94. So you can round that to 97. But it is down significantly from all-time high. So here's what I will say. If Gala has a future, if you believe in the fundamentals of Gala, it does look like a very attractive buying spot, currently sitting at 2 cents. If you think Gala is going to be good, it has an all-time high of 84 cents. That would be quite the return. But I'm telling you right now, seeing is that there's almost, along this rally, yes, there's a couple little short rallies on the 3 daily chart, but there's not a lot of bullishness happening from that peak that we had back here in November of 21. Back when all-time highs were happening, all the cryptos. That is one of the most bearish-looking charts that I have seen. Could that be a good thing? We see. Let's look at the daily chart, and let's start looking at some of the technicals and seeing what's happening there. I'm going to go off the log chart now and fix this up. There we go. All right, so, you know, it just didn't have a lot further to go. There's no real point in drawing the trend line that was developing here. I'm going to actually go with these candle body closes, which would have put us right there. We broke out of it, but it's, it's because there really wasn't a whole lot more to go to the downside. Let me look at the oscillators here real quick. And again, it's such a straight line thing. You got to kind of look at these things. There is some bullish RSI divergence that has formed here, and you guys are seeing that. We just talked about that. These bottoms are going to the downside. The price action is going to the downside. RSI, though, is climbing here just a little bit. Here's a problem. Here's what I don't like, though. I don't like that we've had several touches and several bullish RSI divergence things happening, sending us back up on the daily chart to that 50. We kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday. Sometimes when you get divergences and send it back to the 50 line, it's actually a regrouping for another dip. Like we said, there's not a whole heck of a lot of places that it can keep going after this. But that's not necessarily the most encouraging sign to me. What I do like is that the Lux Algo oscillator is saying it's massively overextended and needs to go to the upside. And to be fair, over the last couple of days, let's see, today it's red, but the couple days before that, it was starting to rally here just a little bit. But overwhelmingly, not a very convincing, not a very soothing chart so far. We did have a strong contrarian buy signal here during this big dip back here a couple of weeks ago. but we ended up coming down, dipping lower, and there's not necessarily firm signs that has to go to the upside. If there's anything interesting, chat saying, because again, I'm not a Gala person. If they have thoughts, I don't know any of the news, I don't know any of the real fundamentals about it other than it's a gaming service. Let's look at the 4-hour chart and see if anything changes for us. A sell signal we had here just a couple of days ago, it looks like. We got a little overextended. The oscillators currently even on Lux Algo is saying it's overextended to the upside. That's not a good sign for a rally right here. Gala is looking like one of these projects that it's not really a good project or anything, because it's saying that it's not necessarily going to go to the upside, but there's just not a lot of levels you can short it unless you're just going to go ahead and take it all the way down to zero. Let's look at some support levels we have. Clearly, we have one developing right there on the price action bottoms. We're going to just extend this across. So keep your eyes right here. We are technically, we just bounced back off of that. Let me turn the Lux Algo off here for a second. We did just bounce off of that support level. And let me see if there's anything drawn. Yeah, we got a little bit of a line, a little bit of a level we could use. I'm going to kind of extend this. Start with our wicks, extend it back. Let's see what happens here. It's anything necessarily special, but keep your eyes on that as well. Then if you're looking at candle body closes, you're going to look at this hourly chart right here, and there looks to be a little bit of a pattern right there. This would be a broadening wedge. It doesn't even really fully touch that, so that's not really a line I like either, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. This is just not a very good looking chart. I don't know who's trading Gala, who's investing in Gala. Clearly, if anyone invested in Gala, unless you just did it here within the last couple of days, you're in the red for certain. And again, this is going to boil down to chart-wise, there's nothing popping off to me that we're about to see something really, really good happen. Like I said, even the best part of the whole thing with the bullish RSI divergence is, it started to slowly send us back up, but the RSI climbed so much faster than the price did, leading back up to a rejection at the 50, and it looks like that is what is sending us back down. That's what I have on Gala. I mean, I can continue to look at that kind of stuff and keep myself posted, but unless something fundamentally is changing, unless something in the news is happening with a new partnership or new investment, not looking good, not a project that I would invest in based off these charts. Anything that chat was talking about right there?
Crypto Set Guy mentioned that he hoped that Snoop Dogg had sold. I guess Snoop Dogg had associated himself pretty heavily with Gala, and
he's really into gaming, so that makes sense.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg's a big gamer, but So
I'm interested. I'm interested, especially based off those last two, because I haven't done a whole heck of a lot of sentiment research and use case for those. Where are you guys standing on Quant and Gala? Again, the charts. I like the charts for Quant.
Quant has strong fundamentals right now because it's kind of leading the ISO 2200 222 narrative. But Gala, I don't think is anything really valuable right now. Nobody's really talking about it. And if you go back and you think about it, Sand and Gala and Mana, all of those coins were really up during like the frothy, overbought peak of this last crypto bull run. Like it was because like if you think about what they are, like they're secondary assets of digital real estate. So when people were talking about buying real estate in the digital world, and that was making sense to people, you weren't even getting that. You weren't even getting the real estate. You were getting the coins of the project that was doing that. So those projects, coins have not done well.
So that's where this comes in, and that's what I was kind of prefacing. Just because charts don't look good doesn't mean a coin or a project isn't good. If you believe in the fundamentals long term, like let's say you think that you said Gala is one of these ones that has like you buy digital space on it, pretty much. Right? Yeah. Let's say you believe in the people that built Gala, you believe in its fundamentals, you believe in it long term. It's just down in price right now because nobody's out here buying property in the digital world right now with the upcoming recession. This could be one of those projects that absolutely explodes, and you don't need the chart to look good to buy. You're just saying, I believe in this long term. I think it has a future. I mean, if you were to go back to the crash that Amazon had, investors didn't want to touch Amazon with a 10-foot pole, and yet, the only people that did own at that time, the people that really owned a lot, were Bezos and family members, wife, parents. and they're very wealthy now, not only because he owned the company, but because they invested very low when nobody else wanted to. So use caution if you do invest. I would almost say like this is for sure one of those projects that it is hey, anything I put into it at these levels is what we can call garbage can money, meaning if you pretend you're going to go in the backyard, put that in a garbage can, set it on fire, you're never going to see it again. If that turns into, whether you put $50, $100, whether you're the kind of person that $1,000 garbage can money, I don't know, where your finances are, that could turn into thousands, if not millions, depending on how much you put in, if it ends up being successful. But there is no guarantee. This is another thing, Smay, speaking of Smay, miss him a lot. We'll give you guys updates on him. He's got some cool stuff going on in his life. But he talked about this last year, and he was saying, because he was more on this side of it, he believed that the future of Web3 is going to be very cool, but there's no guarantee that the current people in play right now, the current companies, are the ones that go into the future. There could be another one that's not even developed yet that takes on cooler technology and stuff. Obviously, these ones get an advantage. They're here earlier. They're making their name known, but it could actually work to hurt them. They get so much negative publicity that it's actually easier for a brand new company to come into space with new technology and take over. That's just my thoughts. I'm not an expert in that field, just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to move into traditional markets?
Let's do it.
Here. Okay, so
it is 9:30.
Yeah, so we'll start off with I guess we'll just go to the charts first.
I think you're on my chart.
Nope. So we'll start off with the charts first. I am on your chart.
You are on my chart.
What we'll do is, so let's see. So looking at the SPY, kind of on a pretty zoomed out, but still 4 hour, you can see that the path of least resistance for the SPY right now is down. So the market, I think, is going to come down here. I don't see any compelling evidence out there to say that it's going to swing higher. Now, the only thing that would go against that is what we're going to get tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I'm sorry, on the 13th. So the 13th, what comes out? So they'll get some big economic data. That is the core inflation and the headline inflation for the United States of America. And that is going to be the previous, you'll be reminded, core inflation was 6.3 and the previous headline was 7.7. So we're looking to beat those numbers so that on the next day, December 14th, we can get a favorable decision of 50 basis points from Mr. Jerome himself. Now, let's look at that on a calendar. So you have the 13th is the Tuesday of next week, and then the following is Wednesday. Well, look at that. Whose birthday is that on Sunday? Oh, it's my birthday. Very cool.
Oh,
so now you guys can celebrate my birthday too, if you'd like. You don't have to. You don't need to feel compelled to do that. But yeah. So also this would be a good time to pause and just kind of go over our Christmas schedule as well. In basically the 21st through the 26th, it looks like we're just not going to have a show for the holidays.
Yeah.
But we will be there on the 19th and the 20th, and we will return on the 27th. Yeah. So we'll probably tweet something to that effect.
Yeah, we'll remind people over and over again. Like,
yeah.
Hey guys, by the way, we're going to be out from the 21st till the 26th. We'll be back on the 27th.
Yeah, but just so you know, as soon as you can. So moving into the world markets. The Shanghai Composite, actually, this was probably out of date now, so let's refresh it. Yeah, Shanghai closed. The Hang Seng closed down 3%. So, pretty down market there in Asia, and the European market also pretty red. We will see how that all pans out, but we did have an interesting equities. Wall Street headline here. Activist investor calls for BlackRock CEO Fink to step down over ESG hypocrisy. So, and there's some meat to these bones. This guy Bluebell, I think his name's Campbell Bluebell, an activist fund with around 250 million in assets under management, holds a tiny stake in BlackRock, has previously targeted the likes of these other two rich people and had a hand in successfully forcing a management restructure at Domain. So it's not like he's a nobody who's making these claims. He's been responsible for forcing the hand of rich and powerful CEOs in the past. And if you don't know who we're talking about, the subject of this potential removal would be Fink. Larry Fink, I think is his name, and he's the CEO of BlackRock. And Fink has become an outspoken proponent of stakeholder capitalism, quote unquote. And in his annual letter to CEOs earlier this year, pushed back against accusations that the giant asset manager was using its size to push a political agenda. Now, this comes at a time where SBF has also been outspoken, and say what you will about SBF, not a good character right now, very very bad, and not just right now, but it seems like from the beginning of his kind of debut on the public stage,
journey.
He has not been a good guy, but he has been outspoken about how he was purposefully a hypocrite about ESG, and he didn't care about that kind of stuff.
Well, he kind of outed the entire industry. He kind of alluded to the fact that every single person is like that. They don't care. It's the kissing the baby political move just to make people like you, but there's no real substance to it. Yeah. And so the whole thing of like saying he's a hypocrite, like they all are. I mean, if they start exposing every single CEO and leader of a company for being a hypocrite when it comes to ESG, they're going to catch a lot of companies.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Cripple the economy that way.
And it's not looking good for ESG, but it's looking a lot worse for SBF. I think if one of those is going to weather the storm, it's definitely going to be ESG. We shall see. But I personally don't think Larry Fink is going anywhere from here. I think he's a pretty powerful guy, and nothing really is going to happen here with that. But it could, there's a potential here. Nobody was considering that until this article came out, until Campbell spoke out about the hypocrisy.
The truth is, I wonder if all of that's just literally going to disappear into the wind. Like it's an article now, and here in like 2 months, nobody's going to even remember or care or think anything of it.
It just depends how low the market goes, because if the stock market starts to really pick up steam to the downside, they're going to be looking for a scapegoat, and if they can blame it on something like ESG, they will. I'm not saying that that's the most expedient scapegoat, but it might be. It just depends on the minds of other CEOs of big banks and big corporations and stuff.
Yeah, and
politicians, I guess, mixed in there somewhere too. But doesn't want to go to my screen. Interesting.
Ooh,
interesting. So I guess we will not finish up the equities. I don't know why it doesn't want to go to my screen.
Oh goodness.
Interesting. Well, we can. Well, the thing is though, is I had the XRP story queued up as well. So let me just take a second here and revitalize.
While we're doing that, let's read some chat while you're kind of trying to play with that and make sure. Crypto Dave just did ask a question. He said, "Investing Bros, what is your thoughts on the 10-year yield being an indication of the Fed not being able to tighten much more at all? 10-year has been leading the Fed fund rate until now." The truth is, I didn't know that. I did know that the 10-year yield was was playing a role. My thing is, I don't know if that's going to have to play with it. Maybe it'll be one of the indicators. I think that, again, I think we're going to see 50 here in December, and I think we'll see what they feel like doing in January. I think there's another number. Is it January or is it wait till February for the next announcement?
That's a good question.
At one point I knew that, but
I'm not even sure that they've released that schedule yet. They probably have.
No, I think they have. They have, and I can't remember. I think January does have one, so we'll see what he does in January. But it was really interesting. I don't even think we're going to talk about it today because we have some other things we're going to talk about, but a lot of interesting things, predictions about what's going to happen in 2023 when it comes to oil prices, when it comes to what the global economy is going to look like. I don't think it's any secret that we're going to be going into recession. The question is, how bad is that recession going to actually be? And there are some people out there believing that the recession is going to get so bad on a global scale that Jerome Powell and the Fed will be forced to cut rates by nearly 200 points just because they realize that if they don't, the economy is going to burn and suffer even more so. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if the 10-year yield plays into that thought whatsoever, but I'll have to do more digging on that one. Good question, Crypto Dave. If anyone else has the answer to that one, love to see that one in chat.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are you still struggling to get your screen up?
Yeah, it's not wanting to do
All right, well, we can do. I have those stories here, so you can just tell me what story, and we can go to my screen, and then we can talk through it.
Yeah. So
let me see. I'm gonna just read a couple other chat. Let's see what else is happening here. A lot of love seeing the talk here. That's why I moved to Leavenworth. I'm out on that one. Any other questions you guys have here? CryptoSick guy says, hopefully Snoop Dogg sold his holdings. Oh, yeah, you already read that one. Yeah, well, it looks like... Okay, Crypto Dave says February, so maybe they take off in January, and then they tune back up in February. I'll have to double-check that one. I could have sworn I saw that they were doing stuff in January. But let's go ahead and jump into the stories. Which story do you want to start with? Ultimately, you want to just head off and lead us into what the discussion is with this in general?
With XRP?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... So XRP, well, let's just Did you have the article?
Yeah, I have all of them.
Yeah, go ahead and go
Which one do you want to do first?
Yeah, probably not that one because that one would be redundant with all the other ones. But okay, I got it now. Let's see if it wants to work. Okay, it looks like it's going to be a little more cooperative here. So we've got a guy coming out and saying essentially that Ripple will lose against the SEC. So pardon all these ads here, but this is You Today, and that's the worst website that there is that covers crypto because they have so many ads in their articles. But Gene Hoffman, CEO operating officer at blockchain company Chia Network, not something that I really hear about very often, but I have heard of it. So his credibility is somewhat in question here, but we can take it for what it is and move on. He says that the only outcome is that the federal judge will rule that Ripple's sales of XRP made XRP a security. So he's tweeted that. Again, I don't know how authoritative his view on this is, but it's enough to where You Today decided to send this story. Moreover, the Ripple leadership was informed by none other than Bill Hinman, the former director of the SEC's Division of Corporation Finance, that its XRP distributions were viewed as illegal back as far as 2019. So there's a precedent that that Gene Hoffman is pointing out here, that it's not like the SEC just came out of nowhere and is making a big deal out of it right now. They've have a track record of having legal issues and taking issue with XRP in their dealings for quite some time now. The tech entrepreneur also criticized Ripple for misleading many with the cryptocurrency community about the true state of affairs. It's a shame that so many that many at Ripple misled so many on this issue, he wrote. Hoffman argues that very few of the top 100 largest cryptocurrencies are not securities in the United States. So there, Hoffman kind of shows his cards that he's in the same camp as the CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, that he's pretty hardcore. Again, well, not necessarily saying that he's a Bitcoin maximalist, but he has kind of the same argument as a Bitcoin maximalist. And considering he works at a blockchain company, more than likely he is a maxi, but it doesn't come out and say that. Moving into the Cointelegraph article with a pretty similar sentiment here. Basically, they want to take a look at this, and it's not looking good for XRP. But you can take this further because there's also kind of negativity around crypto in general right now, as we know. But Elizabeth Warren and co. is actually taking aim here, and they're starting to put some bark behind their bite, some bite behind their bark. Excuse me. So that is, crypto will be regulated as securities, ICE boss and Senator Warren said. And this isn't the ICE that is the Border Patrol. It's a different ICE, as we'll get to in just a second. But the renewed focus on regulating cryptocurrencies as a security comes in light of FTX's recent implosion. And speaking on December 6th, Sprecher, who's the ICE guy, he operates the New York Stock, ICE operates, he owns a component of the New York Stock Exchange infrastructure. He confidently stated that crypto assets are going to be regulated and dealt like security. So pretty haunting words there from someone of influence. He argued that this will ultimately result in far greater consumer protections and regulatory oversight of centralized exchanges and brokers. And he asked the question, what does this mean? It means more transparency. It means segregated client funds, and the role of the broker as a broker-dealer will be overseeing the exchanges, will be separate from the brokers. The settlement and clearing will be separated from the exchange. So let me pause here. This is exactly what people in the financial regulatory industry want to hear, right? Because what he's hitting on here is all of the things that they did wrong in 2008 housing crisis, that they didn't have separation between the brokers and the dealers, and there wasn't a difference between the settlement houses and the clearing houses. So he's hitting on all the right notes here. Does that actually trickle into Congress passing new legislation? We'll see. But Sprecher goes on to say, also, or the article goes on to say, Sprecher also argued new regulation was not necessarily required for crypto, as the legal frameworks are already there in terms of securities, and they are just going to be implemented more strongly. And then the article goes on to talk about
pausing
Warren.
right there. is not a good thing, because what he's pretty much saying is we're not gonna actually do any research for cryptocurrency to get to know why it's different, because crypto is just different. Like it's actually easy. When I was reading all this stuff and I'm doing my research, it's actually easy to understand why a lot of cryptocurrencies are going to be failing the Howey test. There's going to be a lot of people just looking at them on their face value and saying this is security. But cryptos are more complicated. Don't get me wrong. There are several out there, several cryptocurrencies, even within the top 100 that I'm like, no, absolutely, that one is security. There's no hiding it. They are literally just trying to get you to invest and then promising you'll make more money if you do. It's where you get the XRPs of the world that it's like, all right, I understand there's actually a lot of people who probably utilize XRP like security. And that's kind of what we're getting at to in these stories that people are saying, is that like, there's doubt that Ripple can actually win this case, just because everything we've just seen happen in this space, everything we've just seen happen in the crypto market, it does not have trust right now. What FTX just did destroyed the outsiders' trust of cryptocurrency. If this court case had happened and been closed well before FTX, then there's a chance that the judge is going to be in a little more favorable spot to think of the differences. But the fact that crypto as a whole right now cannot be trusted by mainstream media, the fact that we did just have something absolutely disastrous happen, and the fact that by definition there are some aspects that look very fishy to the Howey test of XRP and other cryptos being securities, I think you're going to see judges more favorable to actually agreeing and saying this is security. I'm really hoping that's not what happens, but it would make a lot of sense if it did. And what I don't like, and I told you guys, pause on that moment, the fact that they just said we already have the measures in place, we're just going to plug and place them, that does not allow the government, the regulatory bodies, to actually continue to learn about cryptocurrency, to know what is the best way to allow it to do its work but stay regulated in a safe way. They're literally just going to put shackles on it that were not made for it, that are going to restrict it in very, very, very negative ways. And so this should be very concerning to every single person watching, not only to XRP holders and people who love XRP, but this is pretty much saying they're coming for almost all of the cryptocurrencies, save maybe for Bitcoin. I know Ethereum's the one on the fence right now. Are they going to treat that like a security? Are they going to treat that one like a commodity? We will see. But the rest of them, all these other altcoins that people are loving, there's a risk, especially if they just start saying, we're going to stop learning. We already know what we're doing here. We're just going to slap on this old regulation and treat them just like any other security. It doesn't mean that every project is going to have to die. It just means that they're going to be heavily restricted, and the gains and the ability to invest in them wisely as a DeFi, as a decentralized protocol, is going to be severely hurt in the whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this article does go on and hits on some more important things. So a spokesperson for Elizabeth Warren, Alex Sarabia, kind of spoke to what she's thinking about. So he said she's working on crypto legislation and believes that financial regulators, including the SEC, have broad existing authority to crack down on crypto fraud and illegal money laundering. And this kind of plays into Mark Yusko's theory, which is that that SBF was a useful idiot, and really there's this like strong anti-crypto establishment kind of pulling the strings over at FTX to architect a collapse and then come out with a giant oversized regulatory response. That's Mark Yusko's theory, is that there's this incumbent financial services industry that has way too much to lose by crypto coming in and taking all the market share, which it has taken a lot of market share from the traditional financial industry. And so they've orchestrated this entire FTX rise and fall so that they could come up with this overpowered regulation. So this would be a tick in that direction. That would be toward Mark Yusko's theory, that she's coming out and saying, no, it needs to be under the overpowered SEC. And she's kind of talking right into the kind of the march of Mark Yusko's theory.
I'm gonna give a take on that one. I don't know. I if that was the theory, why are they not, like, they have everything they need, if that was true, to slam the cuffs on Sammy right now. And I guess we talked about that the other day. We're not going to call him SBF anymore. We're tired of hearing that. There's 3 letters. We're going to talk about Sammy.
Scammy Sam.
why this would be the perfect. If that was the case, why don't they just slap the cuffs on him right now, make it a huge scene, paint the entire crypto industry so that every other exchange CEO and coin CEO looks like they could be scammy people.
Yeah.
But if the fact that it's not happening, I don't think that they saw this happening. There's actually evidence out there to say potentially SBF and Gary were friends and working on stuff together.
So here's what Mark Yusko would say to that theory is that it's not SBF that did anything wrong. He was working with this technology that just shouldn't be in public, and that's blockchain exchanges essentially. So you have to realize it's not SBF that the incumbent financial industry would want to come down on. And again, this is all theory and conjecture. I don't necessarily subscribe to this. It's not SBF. They don't want to paint SBF as the bad guy. He's just an entrepreneur who picked the wrong industry, right? It's blockchain and crypto in general that is evil and shouldn't be messed with and shouldn't be utilized at all. It should, it's not compatible with capitalism. It's not compatible with what you ought to go do. That is what they want you to think. That's what their path to overregulation. Because here's the reality: in the United States, we have a distributed internet infrastructure, so we can't ban Bitcoin like China did. China, all of their internet comes through the Great Wall, and they can censor anything that they want. They've strategically built it that way over time, and we just haven't done that in the US. So the government knows that even if they were able to ban it in the US, people in the US are educated enough and understand how to use VPNs, and they can operate outside of the US, and we can mine outside of the US, and people would move outside. So they can't ban it. What they can do is code into the public understanding of crypto that crypto is evil, and it creates victims like you who lost a lot of money, and victims like SBF. Who? What is the media doing? It's vilifying. It's victimizing SBF. He's the victim here because all he was trying to do is just start a company in a new industry that he thought there was a lot of potential in. Oh, and then all of a sudden things go south. Well, it's just really because exchanges are so hard to run, and they just shouldn't be run, right? That's kind of the conclusion that I think the Elizabeth Warrens want you to come to, so that you can say, yeah, Elizabeth, you know what? This whole crypto thing is just bad. We gotta regulate this. We gotta get a big strong sheriff to take care of this problem because we can't solve it ourselves. The market won't solve it itself, and that's obviously not what we want, right? We want SBF to be shown for what he is, and if there is a super deep rabbit hole that involves the DNC and involves a bunch of super PACs and involves Gary Gensler, and there seems like there is a web of kind of crazy conspiracy there, that all needs to come to light, be shown. And if that has to coincide with the collapse of one of the parties of the United States, then so be it. But what needs to be shown is that Bitcoin is better money.
Yeah.
We never should have gone off the gold standard. Bitcoin is better money. It's an update. It's a gold 2.0, and we don't need the Fed anymore, full stop. But what we're coming to is the Fed, and which is kind of represents the incumbent financial system, is like, well, hold on, maybe we can kind of create a CBDC. We can start to test that. We can kind of integrate with blockchain. Yeah. But at the same time, they're also trying to run these psyops on the U.S. public, saying, hey, also crypto in general, private crypto. They're setting the stage for private crypto to be the villain, and for you to be the victim by losing a bunch of money in it, and for entrepreneurs who are associated with crypto to also be the victim because they just got into an industry that nobody can succeed in.
Well, I'll tell you what, as we wrap this one up, if this does happen, if the XRP case does go the way of the SEC and they win, that the Bitcoin maxis will be singing and dancing, because that is the one thing. It's like comforting and bad at the same time, because I think the majority of the people here watching and listening along with us, we're heavily invested in Bitcoin. We love cryptos as well. We're investing in other cryptos, but we also love Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin will probably not be hurt by this because even Gary Gensler himself has said, hey, Bitcoin's not a security. And so that's why you're getting all those Bitcoin maxis who are kind of agreeing with this. I guess he says he likes Ethereum as well, but that's kind of what people have accused. What's his name? Gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Michael Saylor of being a maxi. He says he likes Ethereum as well, but he pretty much hates all other cryptos. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, our last piece of the article here, and we're leading into something else as well here. We were going to talk about kind of a review of our view of the channel so far and kind of what we're thinking. So this will kind of fit in nicely. Over in the crypto world, MicroStrategy's founder and Bitcoin maximalist Michael Saylor has gone one step further by essentially calling for all crypto assets that aren't Bitcoin to be shut down. And he argues that they are committing securities fraud. Saylor reiterates his opinion that assets such as XRP, ETH, Solana are all unregistered securities.
Oh, he threw ETH in there now too.
As they were issued and controlled by centralized entities. The best thing, this is Saylor, the best thing for the world would be for the SEC to shut all of it down. So you can start to see that people are getting frustrated. And this I think goes well into kind of our outro here of why we're doing this channel and why we're deciding to continue to do it. Because myself, I have been, looking for employment, and I have been, in the crypto industry, and I've not been finding it very well. Why? Because all the money's been sucked out of it. People aren't investing in crypto in the same way. A lot of that has to do with the Fed just sucking money out of the market in general. But a lot of it has to do with just crypto has, we're in the bottom of a bear market, and this may be a unique bear market. But I'm committed to this channel because I believe that Bitcoin is an innovation that the world has never seen before, and it is going to rock the world as long as the Illuminati, whatever, as long as like the incumbent power that has been ruling the financial industry and has had 100% monopoly on the definition of value, essentially, of all goods and commodities by their ability to print and unprint the United States dollar, is very upset by Bitcoin. And so that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm excited about it. And, Tim, I'd like to kind of hear where your thoughts are on it and a little bit about, how it kind of fits in with your personal world and everything like that.
You mean Bitcoin in general, or what are you talking about?
Just your passion for this channel, your passion for crypto.
So the passion for channel, crypto has changed my life. That's the reason why I'm still here. Like here a couple of years ago, if you had said, hey, Tim, you're going to be on any kind of crypto channel whatsoever, you're going to be talking about crypto, you're going to be investing in crypto, I would have been like, I don't know what you're talking about. But, having been convinced and having seen the evidence and getting invested in Bitcoin first and other cryptos, I think the future of our planet is blockchain technology. And I think that the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because there are so many other great influencers out there, people that are very, very good friends of mine, people that I love. There's some out there that are bad characters. And I think, I have a long way to go before I would consider myself an expert. I think T-Shroom, I think you put yourself in the same boat. But what people need is they need help. They need to be kind of walked through all this, and they need a reliable, honest person who's not going to lie to them. And so what I'm really passionate about is building a community. And the other reason why I'm saying a community is not just a cult following of me and T-Shroom, where it's like, well, T-Shroom and Tim said it, so therefore that must be the absolute truth. I want to build a community of people where it's like, hey, Tim knows what he's talking about in this area. So when Tim makes a call, hey, that's a good call. Hey, Crypto Sec guy really understands the security aspect. So when I'm trying to learn about how to secure myself, I'm really going to go out and reach out to Jeffrey and say, Jeffrey, how do I do this well? We got other people, the NFTs. I really want to dabble in NFTs. Well, these are the experts in the field. Maybe it's not Tim. Maybe it's not T-Shroom. I don't expect myself to really ever be an expert in NFTs. But I do want to build, as I do think that NFTs and cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are going to be the future of how the world operates. I want to provide a space where people can actually come in and learn, and there's not going to be all of this ulterior motives going on. There's not going to be all of this, let's just say whatever we can say for clicks, which, by the way, that is one of the most tempting things. Having now been a part of crypto YouTube now for 2 years, the temptation to type things into that title box, the temptation to talk about things that really add no value to anybody, but we know people will click on it and watch it and give numbers. That's a very big temptation. One that I would like to say that I feel very strongly that we, when I was over with Coffee and Crypto, and then, we walked the line of what clickbait means. Like, I think there's such a thing as good clickbait. If it makes you click on it and the content is good, helpful content, then I think that's good clickbait. When it is a Bitcoin's about to die, and then the thing has nothing to do with that, or it's a completely wrong observation and it's just misaligning people and you're not giving them anything helpful, I think that's really harmful to the space. So one thing I'm very passionate about is saying, hey, I said this in the first video, I don't think that T. Shroom and I don't think Investing Bros is going to become the #1 YouTube channel on in the crypto space. I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason why is because there's certain things that we're not willing to do that would make us get that far. What I do think we could become is one of the most reliable, one of the most collaborative spaces in crypto, so that newcomers can come in and learn and feel comfortable about their investments. It can change their future for the better. And so that is my passion. That's why I'm still here. If that wasn't it, I probably wouldn't still be in crypto YouTube whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty well said, and we are reaching the conclusion here. I mean, we definitely want to keep doing this. We're trying to figure out a way that it can be sustainable financially. But I mean, ultimately, all the assets are purchased, like all the cameras and computers and everything, which, by the way, the computer that's running the stream is right behind me, which is something I thought was kind of cool. So it's all here. It's not like we have some kind of ongoing payment that we have to make in order to keep doing this. But we do have to find employment, when we, at least I do. I need to find something to go do with my time to be able to pay bills and to just grow as a person. And unfortunately, with the way that YouTube has structured its all of its money and stuff like that, we can't really make money until 10,000 subs and stuff.
No. So I found out it's actually a lot better. So we're not as far away as we might be. 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours, which, by the way, I think so obviously, subscribers are growing. We're at 565. 1 week and 565, that's absolutely ridiculous.
It is good. That's really good.
I think we're sitting somewhere around 300, 400 watch time hours. So we got some work to do there. And that's what we're going to try the best to make more content out there. But like T-Stream just said, with having jobs, we got to work to provide. It's going to be limited. But any ideas you guys have, let us know. That's where those comments really help us out, because that is something. If you're doing YouTube full time and you can just sit around and think about what are some good content ideas, that's helpful. When you got to go do other work, sometimes you're like, man, what is the best video I can make right now? So if you guys have things you want to see and learn about, let us know in the comments, and we can have some content ideas to help you guys better and to help this channel and community grow faster and faster.
Yeah, and just the last thing I'd say is the way that I kind of think about this channel is, it's kind of like if we were sitting at the beginning of the railroad or the beginning of electricity or the beginning of the internet, and we're just at least that's the way I feel. We're just commentating on the revolution that's going on, and we're doing that through the lens of the media, right? That's reporting on this. But we're also looking to make a profit off of it, because why not? You're sitting at the beginning of a revolutionary technology, you might as well.
Yeah.
I don't see this as like a get rich quick, like make a bunch of crazy videos that are going to manipulate the brainwaves of people and stuff like that. Like, that's not the reason why I'm doing it. I just would like to be a voice in this industry and have a little bit of a say and a little bit of a prodding for leaders, hopefully, to think about it, and for followers to not get burned, right? Because I'd like to think that Tim and I, we've been in the industry long enough to kind of see how the snakes operate.
Yeah.
And there are snakes, guys. There's always going to be in these new gold rush industries, as we've seen with Luna, as we're finding out with FTX, and the rabbit hole is probably a lot deeper than with Luna. Luna, it was just kind of like a couple of people who were out to make a buck, and they realized they can make way more than a buck, and so they kept it going until that castle came toppling down. But guys, I mean, what we have to realize is that the revolution, we don't know how much snake to legitimate ratio there is, right? So Levi Jeans made a lot of money off of the gold rush in California, but they were legitimate. But there were tons of jeans companies who were out there probably just trying to make money, not just provide a high quality product to miners, right? And so we have to figure out who that is. When you throw around names like Crypto.com and Binance, Coinbase, it's like, are we even sure that they aren't snakes in the grass too? It's like crypto, there's kind of this habit of just trusting everybody and trusting all entities that have done a decent job with their marketing and their website, and they have some kind of presence somewhere. But the reality is we're in a gold rush, and we don't know who is the real Levi Jeans and who is the snakes in the grass just selling you, low quality stuff that's going to break down, and ultimately you'll be at a loss. So that's what we're helping you, trying to navigate and commentate on a revolution, and also try to make a profit in the meantime. And that's why we're focusing on the stock market right now too. That's why it's something I've traded a long time. It's like, is there a lot of money to be made on the upside of crypto right now? Not really. It doesn't look like it. There might be with this ISO 222 story, but other than that, that's why we're trying to find opportunities in the stock market too.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get to do too much of that because our technology froze a little bit. But anyway, guys, we were over time. But Tim, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I was just saying, we're going to wrap it out for today. We're a little over, but thank you to everyone who is along with us. If you have not already, smash that like button on your way out. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. By the way, today at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, I will be over on Chart Prime. Make sure you guys go check it out. We're going to be talking about the Fed and potentially when and what a pivot would mean for crypto and the rest of the space. Love each and every single last one of you. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that being said, though, you guys have a good day.